Hey, welcome back everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope we had a wonderful week and hopefully a wonderful weekend so far. And we've got some big time changes on the way for a lot of folks, from pretty big temperature changes, well, honestly, really big temperature changes going into tonight for just about everybody. And then the potential for maybe some April snow here in the next week or so, followed by a return once again to a big time springtime severe weather outbreak, potentially at least here on the horizon in the 7 to 10 day time frame. Now, I do want to apologize for not having a video out yesterday. I did not let you know about that. In fact, I think I told you I was going to have a video, but I actually took a trip down to the National Weather Service in Greenville-Spartanburg, which is our local NWS office here in Charlotte and also back home in the upstate. So again, that was a really awesome opportunity, and unfortunately, I woke up, had to get up a little extra early for that one, and I just didn't get around to making a video. So do apologize about that. But again, it was kind of, I guess, a good enough reason not to. Again, a great opportunity I had there. Also, yesterday evening, I had the chance to photograph some lightning here in Charlotte. We had some storms kind of roll on through, storms I talked about in Thursday's video, and I took these images on campus last night, right around midnight or so, and you can see here, again, some pretty electric storms rolled on through. This actually, well, let me pull out the pen so I can actually draw on the screen here for you, just to, have that up and ready, because that is important. All right, so here we go. Anyway, as I was saying, this is on campus. This is our library on campus. That's our basketball arena. This is a dorm here. And if you zoom in really closely, this is the top of another building. But not that any of that matters. What really matters, though, is this lightning over here in the corner. Again, you can even kind of see these bubbly cumulus clouds here on top here. And definitely had some of that cloud-to-ground lightning here connecting to the surface. So definitely interesting stuff there. And here's just another angle of another lightning bolt. This one kind of, again, zigzagged across the sky, excuse me. Probably didn't have much of a ground connection on this one, but still lit up the sky really well for my camera to capture. So again, kind of fun stuff, and I always love this time of year to be able to witness some of those storms kind of roll on through. Let me go to the right image here, sorry. But to watch some of those storms roll on through, always super fun to see. And honestly, that'll continue probably here through August as it normally does in this part of the country. So again, maybe look forward to more pictures like that. Now, talking about the actual weather, though, and what's coming up on the horizon here, currently, the big story is going to be this big temperature change. And in fact, we have frost advisories and freeze warnings up for portions of the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley. Again, it is going to get rather chilly, even cold, if you're comparing it to what it should be this time of year here, going into tonight and even tomorrow afternoon for a lot of folks here. And all of that is really mainly going to be due to what's happening right now. So we've got this big block of cold air kind of right here that is slowly sagging south and east into the country, and it has actually fired up some low pressure here, and that is bringing, some scattered snow showers up through Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. Definitely seeing some of that ongoing, but also, down here into kind of this circled area on your map, just a big area of kind of a stalled out front, waiting for that cold air to kind of push it on through. And because of that, again, we're getting a lot of rain here through the Red River Valley into southern Oklahoma, northern Texas, and then there into the Arkansas-Louisiana border. In fact, even some showers and storms trying to make it down even as far south and east as the Georgia area and even into the Carolinas. We're seeing some storms pop up here that could have the potential to produce some strong straight line winds and maybe even a little bit of hail this afternoon. And seeing that here on our latest satellite imagery. In fact, I'm going to refresh this just to make sure it's up to date. Again, just some really big time storms kind of rolling on through this circled area, but also you'll kind of notice here at the time I'm recording this about 3 o'clock-ish, some of these storms also popping up over the Carolinas. So really anyone in this kind of circled area on your map is going to have the chance at some showers and storms today and tonight before, again, and really even going into tomorrow as well a little bit before we kind of clear out and that cold air really sinks on in. Now, you can see this from the Storm Prediction Center. We do have kind of two different marginal risks today to the south of those shields of rain, if you will, especially down here into the Carolinas, southern Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. As I mentioned, again, some of those storms already firing up with the potential to become strong to severe. And same story here into southern Texas with kind of that heart-shaped marginal risk there. Now, for both of these areas, again, main threats definitely will be strong straight-line winds with some microburst potential and even a little bit of hail as well as some lightning, much like the storms I saw last night that I showed you here earlier. Really just kind of the same story today. So luckily, tornado threat is non-zero today, which just means very low in threat of any type of tornadoes being produced. So that is definitely the good news here. All right, let's talk about this a little bit more and kind of zoom in here area by area. And Sorry, it is very hot in my room right now. Again, kind of give you a updated view on what's to come. So this afternoon, again, kind of the big story is going to be this rain, as we mentioned, and we'll start here in the southern tier of the country. Most of this rain that you're seeing here, again, into the Red River Valley and into southern Arkansas and northern Louisiana, not much of a severe weather threat with this. It's more down south. Notice these more isolated cells kind of popping up here. That's where the real severe weather threat is going to be, again, with any of those storms. So as we move this ahead, just kind of watch those two areas. Again, a good amount of rain to the north, but also some pretty good lightning, some gusty winds, and some hail possible with these cells further down south towards the Houston area going into this evening and even a little bit into overnight tonight. Now, eventually that shield of rain really starts working southbound by the time we get into about the midnight hour, a little bit after. We're starting to clear out to the north a little bit here, but some rain now continuing again to sag south towards the I-10 corridor. Definitely, again, likely bringing some lightning, some gusty winds, and maybe a little bit of hail. The good news is, by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning about 8 a.m. here, you'll notice really just some scattered showers left over. Most of these storms at this point now getting offshore into the Gulf of Mexico, things calming down over land, which is definitely some good news. And by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, the bigger story is just going to be this big-time high pressure moving in and bringing in that cold Canadian air with it. And again, whenever I say cold, let me reiterate what I mean by that. I do not mean it's going to be necessarily cold as in you need a jacket, but cold as in much chillier than what we're used to this time of year and what it's been recently. So again, we could see a good 30-degree temperature swing for a lot of folks from their highest temperature here within the past couple of days to the new high temperature during the afternoon hours here going into our Sunday. And again, just stays kind of clear even into overnight Sunday as that high pressure really locks into place here. All right, southeastern United States also under the gun for some storms this afternoon, and here we go. Definitely showing up pretty well on our models here. Really, again, just good old-fashioned rain here, I think, into northern Mississippi, but areas to the south and back into the Carolinas here, from Charlotte, Raleigh, Fayetteville, kind of down the I-85 corridor, and into just this general warm sector here from Louisiana northbound, is where we could see some stronger storms this afternoon. Now, wind shear is relatively weak out there, but instability is quite high. Again, it's warm out there. We're seeing some sun here in Charlotte, getting those Cape values up, so these parcels are definitely going to want to rise, but they're honestly probably not going to last super long. Maybe a little bit longer than yesterday. Might, have a little bit more shear, but still really wind and hail are just going to be the biggest threat, especially with such a high cloud base today. So that is definitely kind of the good news here, at least not too much of a tornado threat, but again, gonna have to watch out for some isolated downbursts through the Carolinas, southern Georgia, Alabama, and even into the Florida Panhandle, as well as southern Louisiana and Mississippi through this evening. This is by the time the sun is going down here, and again, just some of those storms still moving on through with that shield of rain that isn't really severe and more just, I guess, a chilly rain, if you will, kind of in the northern tier of these states, and will continue working eastbound overnight tonight. Let me click the map so it keeps moving forward here. Sorry. Going into tomorrow morning, though, again, we'll move this into about midnight, 3 a.m. here, that general ballpark here, Eastern time, and getting into about the time the sun is rising tomorrow. For anyone going to church or any other Sunday morning plans, just honestly some good old-fashioned cold rain, again, for a lot of folks here into the Carolinas, and it's going to feel very different than today. Again, right now, it's probably about 85 here where I live. Tomorrow morning, it's probably going to be in the 40s or 50s, and it's going to stay that way throughout the day as this shield of rain just kind of hangs over. It's going to just be kind of a chilly, damp day throughout much of the day. That's going to continue into the afternoon hours. That rain shield moving through the Carolinas, through Georgia, through the Florida Panhandle, but eventually clearing west to east here. And this finally moves offshore. This is about 8 p.m. tomorrow night. You'll notice things clearing out, that rain moving offshore, and then that cold air working on in just in time for our overnight Sunday and into our Monday morning. Now, how much rain is on the way? Well, definitely not a super high amount, but I'll tell you, isolated spots are definitely going to see more. And in fact, this is, probably, a little bit more in some of these areas as well. But a good amount of rain, probably an inch or so for most people, but especially areas here in the Carolinas that kind of get trapped under some of those thunderstorms that maybe fail to kind of move quickly, could definitely see some more higher totals isolated. In fact, Rock Hill, South Carolina last night, I know just had a storm sitting over it for a good hour or two, probably picked up almost 2 inches of rain or so. So definitely isolated spots more, but it's going to be hit and miss for some folks. But just about everyone should get in on at least half an inch, a quarter of an inch of rain, bare minimum here for those of us that are going to see it in the southeastern United States today and into tomorrow before clearing out. Now, again, the bigger story here are temperatures. Now, this is tonight. You'll notice, again, this cold air kind of sagging southward slowly but surely, but we're going to get below freezing for a lot of folks here up into the northern Great Plains, even down into the central Great Plains, getting in on some of those cooler temperatures tonight before tomorrow afternoon. That cold air really begins to sag southward. In fact, high temperatures only in the 50s for a lot of folks here into the mid-Atlantic, up into the southeast, or down into the southeast and up the I-95 corridor. So again, quite a chilly day. Not many people are going to crack 70 here across the country, at least east of the Rockies. Now some of us down into Florida, definitely still another warm day, as that front wouldn't have quite crossed yet. But again, high temperatures of 58, 60, 65 for most folks, when a couple of days ago we were dealing with 85, 90. So big time differences here in these temperatures. And then going into tomorrow evening, again, that cold air really locks in frost potential for a lot of folks in the Ohio River Valley, into the mid-Atlantic, back down into the plains. Again, going to have some isolated frost problems and likely even freeze problems up into the northeast and into the Great Lakes region, where those colder temperatures are really going to lock into place a good bit for our Monday morning. All right, just to show you this on another map and just kind of give you an idea of how long it is going to last. Again, definitely some below average temperatures here. So this is tomorrow afternoon. It could be anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees below what we should be this time of year through the southern tier of the country, as that rain and cold air and cloud cover really lock into place. That's going to stay a big theme for a while. Monday afternoon, still well below average temperatures. Tuesday afternoon here is starting to rebound here, but still about average. And then by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon, another shot of cold air on the way here. You'll notice this comes flying down out of Canada. Well, did not mean to take a sounding, sorry. But this comes flying out of Canada Tuesday into Wednesday, and much of the Midwest and Northeast once again back to 20 to 30 degrees below what we should be this time of year. And this cold air mass has potential to bring precipitation with it. In fact, maybe even some snowy precipitation, which again, I know it's late April, but not out of the question here to see some snow here going into this week. So we'll definitely show you that map here in just a second. But that cold air locks in again into the southeast, into the east coast, stays that way through much of this week, before I think going into next weekend, spring is going to come back with a bit of a vengeance here. In fact, this could lead to another big time severe weather threat, low pressure likely to form, that warm air getting thrown back into this cold air, and obviously that's a recipe for some trouble here anytime we see that this time of year. So watching that about a week or so out from now. Now, talking a little bit more about the snow potential, again, cold air definitely in place. Here's that kind of extra jolt of cold air here, this trough swinging down south through the Carolinas, bringing that, again, much chillier air than what we're used to for our Sunday and into Monday. But watch what happens up into Canada. We've got big-time areas of cold air kind of up into the Hudson Bay, and this is eventually going to dive southward into the Northeast and into the Great Lakes, as I just showed you, and potentially phase up with another piece of energy, kind of swinging on through the northern tier of the country, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Excuse me. These try to interact, and look at this. A big time, super cold upper level low here at about 500 millibars, just sitting over portions of the Northeast. And that's going to keep things very cold and potentially, again, snowy for some folks. And I don't mean just maybe some snow showers. This could accumulate to quite a, big time surprise snowstorm for this time of year. So let's look at it a little bit here. This is our latest GFS model. I will also show you the European. I actually haven't checked it yet myself, but we will together here in just a second. But again, GFS model, Monday afternoon. Notice still quiet for most of us, but here's that Clipper system coming down into the United States from Alberta and eventually down into the Great Lakes, now combining with that super cold air up into Canada. And we've got snow breaking out through portions of potentially northern Minnesota, into maybe the UP of Michigan, up into portions of eastern Canada before eventually that cold air wraps around it, and here we go into next Wednesday. Big time snow wrapping around on the backside here through upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire potentially could see some snow out of this, and just again well below average temperatures. Also a big story with this system here going into Wednesday and hangs around into Thursday. Widespread snow showers into the higher terrains here. And again, could accumulate to quite a bit before, here we go, into Friday, another storm system, this time with severe weather potential, not snow potential. It brings a return to spring quite quickly going into next weekend. So again, most of this week going to be below average, but by the time we get into next week, we're going to cool down again big time. All right, let's analyze the European model here together. Again, I haven't done this yet, so again, a little different here, but starts relatively similar here. Going into Tuesday, we've got low pressure, again, gliding on through the northern tier of the country. Also has that big-time upper-level low up over portions of Canada here. Now, the question is, how do these two interact on this model? A little bit different here, yes. So you'll notice what happens is we lack some phasing with the European model compared to the GFS, and this is more just a front that brings some rain on the front end and then cold air on the backside with maybe a little bit of snow trying to change over there towards portions of Maine. So a different scenario, but I'll tell you again, the snow potential is definitely there. Now, it's not guaranteed right now. As I just showed you, we have model discrepancies, but if we look at our GFS ensemble members, it's pretty on board with the chance of at least an inch of snow falling here up into the Adirondacks, into the northern mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire, and then again into much of eastern Canada here with some snowy potential. So definitely need to watch out for that. Now, the other story here, obviously, is the severe weather. I just mentioned Storm Prediction Center already telling us, well, about 6 days from now, Friday, we could be under the gun again for severe weather. And guess who? Right back into Oklahoma, Kansas, and northern Texas. And then by the time we get into next Saturday, another area over Des Moines, Kansas City, St. Louis, portions of Tulsa, Norman, Oklahoma City, and even down as far south as northwestern Arkansas under the gun here. So that's going to be something we need to watch. Again, kind of a busy week ahead, from big-time cool down to once again another warm-up and severe weather about a week or so out from now. Alrighty, well, again, a lot that we talked about in today's video. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. We'll be a tad busy this afternoon, do have some plans, but I'll definitely try my best to get around to answering those. With that said, though, have a great rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you all tomorrow.